2 years ago, my daughter Megan married Ryan, an elite corporate employee. However, as time passed, Megan gradually lost her energy. When I called to check on her, I discovered that Ryan had stripped her of her freedom. As I was working on a plan to help her, one day, Ryan suddenly showed up at my house with a massive cardboard box. After letting him inside, he turned to the box and spoke.
All right, you can come out now.
To my shock, Megan emerged from inside.
You used to be cute before we got married, and I thought you'd be obedient, so I married you. But turns out, you're just useless woman.
Ryan grabbed Megan's arm and shoved her roughly toward me.
Someone making $7,000 a month like me doesn't need a wife like her. I'm returning her.
All right then, as of today, you're fired. Ryan's eyes went blank.
What?
Megan looked at me with uncertainty, but I gave her a reassuring nod. Ryan had taken away her freedom and done whatever he pleased. If Megan is too kind to punish him, then I'll be the one to make him pay. I'm Kim, a 52-year-old housewife. I got married at 25, and the following year, I gave birth to my daughter, Megan. My husband and I had a busy but happy life together. But when Megan was 5, my husband passed away from a heart attack. After his funeral, I was completely lost for a while, but seeing Megan's innocent smile reminded me that I had to be strong and raise her well. I changed my job and became a full-time employee. With the help of my parents and in-laws, who lived nearby, I worked as hard as I could. Eventually, Megan told me she wanted to be a great cook like me and enrolled in a culinary school. After graduating, she started working as an assistant at a cooking class. I used to cook a lot of hassle-free meals, you know.
But no matter how busy you were, you always woke up early to make my lunch. That meant so much to me.
Her words made me happy, but at the same time, I felt guilty. I had been so caught up with work that I often left her feeling lonely, so making those lunches and preparing for special events was my way of making it up to her. When Megan moved out on her own after getting her job, I felt like my loneliness would crush me. But I reminded myself that I had to support her as she worked hard to build her future. 3 years after Megan had become independent, she called me one day with an announcement.
Actually, I'm seeing someone.
Who?
He proposed to me, so I'd love for you to meet him.
I was so shocked that I couldn't respond right away. She never once showed any signs of having a boyfriend. All right, bring him over this weekend.
Thank you. I'll do that.
I could hear the relief in Megan's voice. As far as I knew, this was her first relationship since she had attended an all-girls school. Excited, I looked forward to meeting Megan's partner. However, when the day finally came, I found myself feeling more than a little conflicted. Megan's partner, Ryan, was 10 years older than her. He was 33 years old. He was tall, good-looking, and worked as a manager at a prestigious company. Apparently, Ryan had attended a singles event held at the cooking school where Megan worked and had fallen for her at first sight. To win her over, he even signed up for cooking classes and kept pursuing her. Eventually, Megan gave in and agreed to go on a date with him 6 months later. After seeing each other a few times, they officially started dating. Megan seemed completely smitten with Ryan, but something about his attitude rubbed me the wrong way.
Megan is totally helpless without me. You really need to get it together.
Even though he was joking, he always spoke to her in a condescending way.
Kim, which college did you attend?
That was the first thing he asked me after we introduced ourselves. Feeling a little caught off guard, I answered truthfully. His eyebrow twitched slightly, as if he hadn't expected my response, but he quickly acted like it was no big deal.
Oh, I see. So unlike Megan, you actually have a college degree. Well, it's still below mine though.
Oh, but you know. He curled his lips into a smirk.
Honestly, women shouldn't be too educated. They get all opinionated and annoying.
What? I frowned, but he just put his arm around Megan's shoulder and flashed a bright smile.
She can't do anything without me. That's why Megan is so cute.
That statement made me tilt my head. After losing my husband at a young age and becoming a single mother, I taught Megan all the household chores from an early age. I made sure to teach her things schools don't cover, like managing money and understanding taxes, so she could live on her own even if I weren't around. There was no way she was incapable of doing anything.
So, Kim, now that your daughter is marrying an elite like me, she'll have a secure future. I'll take good care of her, so I look forward to your support.
Seeing Megan's happy smile and the sparkling diamond engagement ring on her left hand, all I could do was force a strained smile in return. That night, I held back the urge to call, not wanting to interrupt their date. Instead, I waited until the next morning, around the time Megan would be waking up, to reach out. Megan, are you really going to marry him? Skipping the usual morning greetings, I asked straight away. She responded as if it were the most obvious thing in the world.
Of course. Ryan is a gentleman. He's handsome, and most importantly, he truly cherishes me. His confidence is so attractive.
I had to admit, Ryan seemed experienced with women. On top of that, he worked for a top company, meaning he was financially secure. His arrogance and habit of boasting about his education were off-putting, but if he truly cared for Megan, maybe I should let it slide. All right, if he's the one you chose, I'll trust your decision.
Thank you, Mom.
Hearing the excitement in her voice, I couldn't help but smile as I ended the call. A year later, Megan and Ryan had a beautiful wedding. They pooled their savings and bought a condo about a 30-minute drive from my house. Not wanting to intrude on their newlywed life, I resisted the urge to visit. Instead, I kept in touch with regular calls and messages to check in on her. At first, she would respond with cheerful messages, but after a while, she started leaving my texts on read without replying. You don't seem like yourself. Is something wrong? Are you feeling okay?
No, I'm fine.
I brought up something that had been bothering me for a while. Megan, just because you're a stay-at-home wife now doesn't mean you have to do all the housework alone. At least have Ryan help out on his days off.
That's impossible.
She sounded completely resigned.
Women are supposed to take care of the house, right? Besides, Ryan is supporting me financially. The least I can do is keep everything perfect and take care of him.
It felt like she had been completely brainwashed by him. I started to worry and quickly asked, "Be honest, didn't you want to keep working as a cooking class assistant? Quitting just because you got married seems so outdated." Before she could answer, I heard Ryan's voice in the background, barking an order.
Hey, how long are you going to be on the phone? You haven't even packed for my business trip yet.
Yes, I'll do it now. Mom, I have to go.
And just like that, the call ended abruptly. I bit my lip, frustration boiling inside me. This always happened whenever I called. Since I was busy with work during the day, I could only call Megan around dinner time. Unfortunately, that seemed to coincide with Ryan's return home. Without fail, he was always nearby, eavesdropping. If our conversation lasted more than 5 minutes, he would start pressuring her to wrap it up, making it impossible for us to talk properly. Since I was always the one calling, it wasn't about the phone bill. He just didn't want Megan talking to me. "Call me when Ryan isn't home. I'll call you back." Even when I suggested that, she immediately refused, saying that phone calls weren't allowed when he wasn't around. He was also probably checking the phone bill.
Well, Ryan's the one paying for the phone bill.
Seriously? He makes good money and still acts this cheap. I swallowed my frustration and asked another question. "So, is Ryan controlling all the finances?"
Yeah. He says I have no sense of money.
Megan said it so casually.
He told me, I can't let you waste my hard-earned money, so I'll handle everything.
There was no way Megan, who had always been responsible, would recklessly spend his salary. I was at a loss for words. I just wanted to have a normal conversation with my daughter, but Ryan was always listening in. Not just on the phone. When Megan visited home, he stuck to her like glue and left as soon as he could. It's like he has total control over her. I set my phone on the table and shivered at the words that had just escaped my mouth. No, that can't be. I tried to laugh it off, but the uneasy feeling in my chest only grew stronger. They had only been married a short while, yet I already felt like something was seriously wrong. Determined to have a real conversation with Megan, I went to work early one day so I could finish on time and head straight home. Ryan doesn't get back until after 7 p.m. If I call before that, Megan might finally be able to talk freely. Without even changing out of my work clothes, I grabbed my phone and quickly dialed her number. She picked up right away. "Ryan's not home yet, right? Let's talk now. I know there's something you need to tell me." I could hear her gasp.
Yeah.
But talking over the phone isn't ideal. If you can't come home, let's meet for dinner somewhere. You barely go out anymore. I'll even take a day off for it.
Dinner out.
Megan murmured wistfully, but then, as if snapping back to reality, she quickly shut the idea down.
Ryan would be furious if I did something so extravagant.
"I'll pay for it. Wait a second. Ryan makes $7,000 a month, right?" I couldn't help but let my frustration seep into my voice. "You guys should have plenty of financial cushion. He drives a $40,000 luxury car, yet he's stingy when it comes to your spending.
I don't have any.
Her voice was barely a whisper. What?
I don't get an allowance. I only get the bare minimum for household expenses. He says, a stay-at-home wife who gets 3 meals a day and naps doesn't need money to spend.
It's ridiculous. His words were beyond ridiculous, and anger surged inside me. Does he have any idea how much work it takes to keep a house running? Coming home to a clean house, a hot meal, and a warm bath. That doesn't just happen by itself.
That's why I'm not allowed to go to the salon or wear makeup anymore.
As my anger flared, Megan continued in a calm, matter-of-fact tone.
He told me, if you need something, just tell me. I'll buy it for you. So, when my clothes or underwear wear out, I have to get his approval to buy cheap replacements.
I was so shocked that my mind went blank. It took me a moment to even find my voice. What is that supposed to mean? Running a household is a real job. And wasn't he the one who made you quit working in the first place? Frustrated, I pressed her.
Yeah, but he said, you couldn't even cook the way I like, so you were probably useless at that cooking school too. You should just be grateful and willing to support you.
I heard Megan sniffle on the other end of the line. She must have finally broken down in tears.
He doesn't want to spend a single penny on someone like me.
I felt my blood boiling with rage. How could he say such awful things to the daughter I raised with so much love? I clenched my fist tightly, taking deep breaths to calm myself down before speaking again. After a moment, I asked my question that had been gnawing at me. Megan, doesn't that make you angry?
Of course it does.
She countered with a shout. She must have been holding it all in for so long. And then, like a dam breaking, her resentment toward Ryan came pouring out.
I know I'm good at cooking. That's why I secretly post my dishes on a blog. The kitchen is the only place without cameras. He doesn't want them there because he hates seeing messes.
Cameras? You mean you're being monitored? I nearly screamed in disbelief.
Yeah, I'm in the kitchen right now. If I talked anywhere else, he'd find out.
Her voice dropped to a whisper.
Oh, he's back. I have to go.
The call ended. I stood frozen, gripping my phone tightly. I never imagined he was monitoring her every move. He must have cameras at the entrance, the hallways, and every room, watching her constantly. In other words, even if I showed up unannounced, Megan wouldn't be able to speak honestly, and if I secretly took her out for a meal, she'd just get scolded by Ryan later. I sat down at the dining table, resting my chin on my hand. This was worse than I had thought. If Ryan ever caught wind that we were planning a divorce, he'd probably get rid of the cameras and erase any evidence against him. And judging by Megan's resigned attitude, I doubted she had been secretly recording his verbal abuse. After struggling for a while to figure out how to make him pay and secure a hefty settlement, I sent Megan a message. Check your joint bank account without Ryan noticing. Also, take a look at your credit card transaction history. Even though it was late, she read it almost immediately and replied,
Why?
I'm sure Ryan has been spending money behind your back. It's common for men who are stingy with their wives to be secretly splurging on other women. A few minutes later, Megan sent me a copy of the account balance and transaction history, and my eyes widened in shock. Just as I thought. I let out a quiet breath. 5 minutes later, Megan deleted the image she had sent me. I also erased the messages I had sent her. There would still be traces of the deletion, but if it was just this once, Ryan probably wouldn't suspect anything. After finishing a late dinner and taking a bath, I began devising a plan to make Ryan pay. 2 weeks later, on a Sunday morning, I was leisurely sipping my tea on the couch when my doorbell rang. Checking the monitor, I saw Ryan standing at the front door with a smug grin. Next to him was a cart carrying a massive cardboard box. Ryan showing up alone. What's gotten into him? Feeling suspicious, I walked to the door and unlocked it. When I looked down at the cardboard box, I saw that the lid wasn't taped, but simply folded closed. Good morning. It's rare for you to come by alone, Ryan. And that's quite a big package. What's inside?
Good morning.
He greeted me, but instead of answering my question, he just kept smirking. As I slid open the door, he made a show of pushing the heavy-looking cart forward. Once inside, Ryan shut the door and suddenly spoke to the box.
All right, you can come out now.
Then, the lid of the cardboard box was pushed open, and a person emerged from inside. To my shock, it was Megan, dressed in loungewear and an apron. Megan? I gasped, completely stunned. Her eyes were swollen, likely from crying, and tear tracks were still visible on her cheeks. She bit her lip, clutching the edge of her apron and looking down. It had been 6 months since I last saw her, and the sight of her was heartbreaking. Her once shiny hair was disheveled, her cheeks were sunken and pale, and her already delicate frame now looked like it could break at any moment. Still grinning, Ryan explained.
I sold the used car she was driving. A car is a luxury she doesn't need.
That was a car Megan bought with her own money. I frowned.
So, the only way to bring her here was in my luxury car. But having someone like her sit in it would ruin the seats, don't you think? So I put her in a box. Brilliant idea, right?
Ryan burst into laughter. He really has the audacity to say that to my face. My anger burned so hot that it looped back around into sheer disbelief. Then, looking at Megan, he said something even more appalling.
You used to be cute before we got married, and I thought you'd be obedient, so I married you. But turns out, you're just useless woman.
Megan's eyes widened in shock. In an instant, her eyes filled with tears.
You should be grateful you got to marry someone like me, an elite.
With that arrogant remark, he grabbed Megan's arm and shoved her roughly toward me.
Someone making $7,000 a month like me doesn't need a wife like her. I'm returning her.
I caught Megan in my arms and then turned to Ryan. All right then, as of today, you're fired. Ryan's eyes went blank in confusion.
What?
You didn't hear me? I said you're fired.
Mom?
Megan looked at me anxiously, but I gave her a reassuring nod. Ryan had controlled her life for too long, doing whatever he pleased. But now, I'll be the one to make him pay, in full. For a moment, Ryan just stared at me with a blank expression. Then, suddenly, he burst into a loud, crude laugh. After laughing for a while, he wiped the tears from his eyes and turned to me.
Kim, come on, that's a good one. The only person who can fire me is my boss. You're just some low-level employee at an affiliate company. Don't you even know that?
As expected, he was clinging to that line. I smirked and responded with a deliberately mocking tone. Oh my, did you forget?
What?
There's no way, right? A brilliant man like you, an elite graduate from a top university, working as a manager at a prestigious company, wouldn't possibly forget the name of his own superior.
What?
Ryan's irritation was clear as he studied my face. But after a few moments, his eyes widened to their limit. As he retraced his memory, realization must have struck. No way, that's impossible. You went to a lower tier school than me. There's no way you could be an auditor. His smug expression rapidly drained into pale disbelief. He started yelling, running a hand through his hair in frustration. He was the type who believed that just mentioning his alma mater should make people bow before him in admiration. I could acknowledge the effort it took to graduate from a top university, but that didn't give him the right to look down on others. If even in his 30s, he still clung to his school's name like a crutch, then frankly, I just found him pathetic.
Ryan, Mom has a master's degree.
Megan hesitantly spoke up.
You should've told me that sooner. You just made me look like an idiot.
As Ryan lashed out in frustration, Megan, though clearly frightened, firmly stood her ground and responded.
You cut Mom off before she could finish saying it when we first met.
That's right. Unlike you, I never thought academic credentials were that important, so I didn't feel the need to spell it out. Ryan's face twisted with frustration as I continued. After Megan's father passed, I joined one of the subsidiary companies under your corporation. Thanks to my performance, I was promoted to auditor last October. There was no official ceremony since it was a busy period, but I did make an introduction in the company's newsletter. There was even a photo of me. Did you not bother to check?
I didn't recognize you with all that heavy makeup and a suit. And anyway, even if you're an auditor, you can't fire me over personal matters. Learn to separate work from your private life. Typical of Megan's mother. Completely clueless.
He had the nerve to say that after everything he'd done. Of course, I know that much, but this isn't the best place to talk. Why don't you come inside?
I told you. I'm here to return her. I want to get this over with and leave. Hey, hurry up and sign the divorce papers.
As Ryan thrust the divorce papers at Megan, I calmly spoke to him. That's an important document. You should fill it out properly at a table. If you make a mistake, you'll just have to do it all over again. Ryan hesitated, unable to come up with a rebuttal, then clicked his tongue in frustration. He stomped into the hallway and walked into the room with heavy, irritated footsteps. Megan glanced at me with a hint of unease. I gave her a reassuring nod and smiled. It's fine, everything is going according to plan. When Megan and I entered the living room, Ryan was already there, lounging arrogantly on the sofa.
Unlike you, I'm busy. I don't have time to waste sitting around here.
As he watched Megan sign the divorce papers on the table, he barked loudly, his tone filled with impatience. His demanding, self-important attitude made him look like a tyrant. Hey, can't you wait quietly for once? You're acting like a child. Megan, it must have been exhausting taking care of someone like this. I said it with a hint of sympathy. Megan let out a small chuckle as she kept writing, which only made Ryan more irritated.
All she has to do is write her name, her parents' names, and her address. Who could mess that up? Oh wait, she totally could. After all, she's just some low-level girl who only went to a vocational school.
That's enough. Shut your mouth. I shot him a sharp glare, but he ignored me and peeked over at Megan's writing, mocking her.
Are you sure you can spell your name right? What a good girl. Hey, Kim, why don't you clean up this table now? Like mother, like daughter, both useless as housewives.
Annoyed, he pushed a floral teacup aside, then suddenly sniffed the air and lifted his chin.
Oh, someone was here just a moment ago? I recognize this perfume from somewhere.
No, our guest is still here. Just as Ryan furrowed his brows in confusion, the door separating the living room from the next room swung open. He instinctively turned to look and instantly froze.
Mom?
His arrogant demeanor disappeared in an instant, replaced by sheer panic. He fidgeted nervously, shifting his weight uncomfortably.
Why are you here?
What do you think? I was having tea with Kim.
As Ryan's mother, Sarah, spoke with a terrifying expression, Ryan's face twisted into a pathetic look, his body trembling slightly. Oh, I see.
Megan always told me that Ryan could never defy his mother, Sarah, who raised him on her own.
And it looked like she was right.
Wait, don't tell me. You heard everything?
Stammering, Ryan broke into a cold sweat, visibly panicking. He was probably scrambling to use his prestigious university brain to figure out a way out of this mess.
Yeah, it was just a joke. A surprise, you know.
What?
Sarah's expression darkened even more.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if Megan popped out of a box? I just wanted to surprise Kim. Right, Megan?
Megan, who had been dragged into the conversation, simply finished signing the divorce papers, set down the pen, and looked at me. Our eyes met, and at the exact same moment, we both shrugged. Neither of us said a word, but it was clear we were both thinking the same thing. What an absolutely pathetic man. Oblivious to our reaction, Ryan kept rambling on.
Mom, you know Megan and I get along, right? The divorce is just because of differences in values. I still love her, but it just can't be helped.
Unbelievable. Even now, you have the nerve to say that.
Sarah, her anger evident, stepped toward Ryan. She dropped a stack of photos onto the living room table with a loud thud. Ryan casually picked up one of the photos, but as soon as he saw it, his eyes widened in shock. His face twisted into a grimace, and he fell completely silent.
Still going to pretend you don't know anything?
You claimed you were on business trips and working overtime, but in reality, you were cheating with Ashley, the new hire. How awful. I remember you talking about how cute she was back when she was just an intern, but I never thought you'd actually have an affair with her.
Megan glanced at the photos, her expression turning into one of pure disgust. I also looked down at the evidence, feeling an overwhelming sense of frustration. The pictures showed Ryan walking arm in arm with Ashley, the two of them clinging to each other at a crosswalk, and even their backs as they entered a hotel. There was no way he could talk his way out of this. Suspecting infidelity due to his reckless spending, I had confided everything to Sarah.
Every time they came home, they always seemed fine. I never imagined Ryan would actually be cheating.
At first, Sarah was skeptical, but after hearing how Ryan had been treating Megan, she was furious. Determined to get to the bottom of things, she had a private investigator she knew look into Ryan's behavior. The results? He was completely guilty. He had been having an affair with Ashley, a woman more than a decade younger than him. Ryan sat there sulking in silence, but eventually he let out a bitter laugh and spoke.
When did you manage to get Mom on your side? I knew you were a sly, poor woman.
Poor, I make twice your salary. As I scoffed at him, Ryan's face twisted with rage. But realizing he couldn't win against me, he shifted his target to Megan instead.
So, what now? You're just going to leech off your mom next?
What?
Must be nice being a woman. Even if you're a useless, pathetic loser, you can just cry and someone will take care of you.
Seeing Megan's face turn pale, Ryan smirked triumphantly and continued his verbal assault.
You act like the victim here, but let's be real. You deserve to be dumped. You couldn't even cook food I liked. So what business did you have being an assistant at a cooking class? That's fraud.
What do you mean?
If you could at least cook like my mom, maybe I'd have eaten it. But your food was so disgusting, I could barely keep it down. Worthless as a wife and a worker. What a sad little thing you are.
At that moment, Megan's lips curled into a smile. Being close with Sarah, she must have already known. She knew the truth, that Sarah was a terrible cook.
What are you even talking about?
Sarah sighed in exasperation. She turned to Megan and me, offering an apologetic smile.
Megan Kim, I'm so sorry. Ryan has always had terrible taste. He actually preferred instant meals over my mother's homemade cooking when he was a kid.
Ryan tilted his head, looking like he had no idea what she meant.
The meals Megan brings over regularly are way better than anything store-bought. No wonder she got a book deal. It's a shame you don't even recognize how amazing her cooking is.
Sarah praised Megan without holding back, and I wholeheartedly agreed. I know Megan's cooking is fantastic. It makes sense that a well-known culinary expert endorsed her work. Megan's face lit up.
Honestly, Ryan limiting my household budget ended up helping me. I started coming up with budget-friendly recipes and posting them on my blog, and it just took off. I never imagined it would get turned into a book, let alone go into multiple reprints.
Was it 100,000 copies? That's $1 million in royalties, right? That's incredible, Megan.
Sarah cheered excitedly, and Megan smiled sheepishly. Meanwhile, Ryan, completely left out of the conversation, looked utterly dumbfounded.
What? You were cooking behind my back without telling me?
Oh, I'm a housewife. Cooking is my job, remember?
Megan replied flatly, then thrust the signed divorce papers toward him.
So, just sign the papers now.
And even after losing your job, make sure you pay the alimony in full. I added, watching as Ryan's face twisted with frustration.
You seriously think you can fire me just because I cheated? I told you, work and personal life are separate.
Seeing that Ryan showed no sign of remorse, I let out a weary sigh. He was so pathetic that I hadn't even wanted to bring it up to Sarah, but at this point, I had no choice but to lay everything out. I shot Sarah a glance, then placed a copy of the bank account statements Megan had sent me on the table, along with her credit card transaction history. You're right. The company doesn't care if you embezzled $20,000 from your joint account or racked up $10,000 in debt on Megan's credit card. But expensing your hotel stays and restaurant dates, that's completely illegal, isn't it? Ryan flinched. Megan already knew about this. But judging by Sarah's wide-eyed expression, she didn't.
What are you talking about?
As Ryan's cheek twitched nervously, I activated the recorder on my phone, and a sickly sweet woman's voice began to play.
Of course, I told him to stop, but Ryan just wouldn't listen to me.
Ashley,
Ryan's face turned ghostly pale.
He put all the fancy dinners, travel expenses, and luxury hotel stays on the company account. He said, "It's fine. I'll just write it off as business trips and client entertainment."
Ashley giggled as she continued.
Honestly, I was so turned off. I mean, Ryan was cheating even though he couldn't even afford the dates himself. A broke guy pretending to be some rich elite. So lame. I was planning to dump him soon anyway.
that little. I bought her a $10,000 handbag just to keep her quiet.
Ryan's face turned pale, then flushed bright red all the way down his neck. He looks like a traffic light. I had to fight the urge to laugh and instead kept my expression serious as I spoke. Well, good job, I suppose. Either way, she spilled everything. So after you sign those divorce papers, I'll be reporting this to the police.
Wait, am I going to be arrested?
If you don't want that, you can pay a settlement. But considering your embezzlement plus the alimony, that's going to be quite a hefty sum. Good luck figuring that out. Oh, and of course, you'll be paying Megan's alimony too.
This is a joke, right?
Ryan turned to Megan, his eyes practically begging.
You're getting all that royalty money. You don't even need alimony, right? That credit card debt and the money I spent from our savings. That's nothing to you now. Just let it go.
Ryan jumped off the couch and desperately pleaded with Megan. But she only gave him a cold and emotionless stare.
No, you have to pay every cent back. I can't believe you stole company money. This whole situation made me realize how blind I was.
Megan's firm, angry response made Ryan's eyes widen in shock. He must have assumed that, since she was always kind, she'd forgive him if he begged.
I'm done letting you control me. Take responsibility for your actions and face the consequences.
As Ryan's face filled with despair and he collapsed to his knees, Sarah delivered the final blow.
And don't even think about coming to me for help. You cheated, stole company money. Why would I ever let a disgrace like you step foot in my house again?
Ryan turned to Sarah in disbelief, grabbing at her arm.
Mom, even you're abandoning me? Families are supposed to help each other in times of need.
Enough. Don't throw around the word family, only when it's convenient for you.
Sarah shouted at Ryan and apologized to me and Megan.
I'm so sorry for all the trouble Ryan has caused you. You shouldn't have to see any more of him. I'll take him home now.
She grabbed Ryan's arm and yanked him up.
Let's go.
Wait, I can't afford to pay all that.
In the end, Ryan was half crying as Sarah dragged him out of the house. That night, Megan put all her effort into making dinner. "This is amazing. The best meal I've ever had."
Thank you.
We smiled at each other, savoring every bite of the delicious food. On Monday, Ryan strolled into the office as if nothing had happened. I had planned to bring up his embezzlement case during the afternoon meeting with the executives, but when I returned from lunch, I found chaos unfolding in his and Ashley's department. Ashley had spilled everything about Ryan's misconduct to her coworkers, and word had already reached their boss. When I confronted Ryan, he answered with a mix of frustration and anger.
Last night, I called Ashley to break things off, and she threatened me. She said, "Because of your embezzlement mess, I'm going to lose my job too. If I'm going down, I'm taking you with me."
And sure enough, she waited until lunch break and exposed everything to their colleagues. While I was presenting the full details of Ryan's misconduct to the executives during the meeting, the police, tipped off by one of Ashley's coworkers, arrived at the office. After confirming the facts with us, they officially arrested Ryan for embezzlement. Everyone in the office watched from a distance as Ryan, looking like he was on the verge of tears, was escorted away by two officers. After his arrest, Ryan was held in custody, but since it was his first offense and the company agreed to a settlement, he was eventually released. 3 days later, Ryan returned to work looking noticeably gaunt. Instead of being fired, he was demoted and ordered to repay the company $20,000, including settlement fees. A month later, he was transferred to a small subsidiary in a remote area. I hired a lawyer I knew to handle Megan and Ryan's divorce. I wanted Ryan to pay the full $40,000 at once. $10,000 from Megan's savings, $10,000 in credit card debt, and $20,000 in alimony. But after selling his luxury car, he still came begging, claiming he didn't have enough money. Reluctantly, I agreed to let him pay it off in monthly installments of $1,000. I made sure that if he missed even a single payment, his salary would be garnished, so there was no need to worry. Ashley, who had been demanding luxury goods from Ryan, actually had plenty of savings. When we sent her a formal request for the $20,000 in alimony, she immediately transferred the full amount into Megan's account. As part of the divorce settlement, Megan received the apartment she and Ryan had lived in, while he was given half of their savings. Ryan used the money from the settlement to repay his debt to Megan. He also moved into a cheap apartment, using the savings from lower rent to help pay off what he owed. You'd think he might have learned his lesson, but apparently he left an angry voicemail for Megan.
This is all your fault. Marrying you ruined my life. I should be the one getting alimony. Take responsibility.
Disgusted, Megan immediately blocked his number. A month later, when I had tea with Sarah, I mentioned it, and she apologized profusely.
Ryan's been under a lot of stress. His new boss gives him a hard time every day. Maybe now he understands how Megan felt. I hope he finally learned something from this.
She still cared about her son as a mother, but it was clear she had no intention of taking his side. Seeing how she truly supported Megan made me happy. After the divorce, Megan's face brightened, and she started laughing again like she used to before marriage. Lately, she's been enjoying trips to the bookstore. Every time I see her book displayed prominently, I can't help but smile. She also landed a cooking column in a popular homemaking magazine, keeping her busy but fulfilled. Now she's dreaming of one day teaching students using a line of kitchenware she designs herself. Seeing Megan happy and thriving has made it easier for me to focus on my own work as well.
Mom, you seem so full of life these days.
We don't get to see each other as often since we're both busy, but whenever we do, she tells me that, and it always makes me smile. Her marriage may have ended in disappointment, but as her mother, I will always support her as she moves forward, eyes shining with her dreams.